WinGD, we are driven by providing our customers a smarter perspective on engine technology. The marine environment we work in is fast changing. Regulations are increasing, causing our customers' capital and operational expenditures to rise. We improve efficiency and reliability through our passion for engine solutions, driven by our people who understand the pressures of the marine sector today and tomorrow.
I am Nicholas Bornozis of Capital Inc., and I would like to welcome you to today's podcast of the series Riding the Waves of a Lifetime. This particular series enables us to interact with maritime industry leaders who are sharing with us career and life experiences, as well as their unique insight into the industry's direction, challenges, risks, and opportunities. I would like to thank WinGD for sponsoring today's session. Our podcast today, we are privileged to have with us Şadan Kaptanoglu. Şadan is the CEO of the Kaptanoglu Group. She is also the former president of BIMCO. Sadan, thank you for being with us today. It's really wonderful to have you with us. And you have had a very distinguished and impactful career in shipping. Your career includes running a shipping company, running a shipyard. You also have had a broader industry impact as the head of BIMCO, and also of other organizations like TUMEPA and INTERMEPA, the Turkish Chamber of Shipping, and so on. So you've been very industry-oriented on a larger scale. And for reference for our audience, BIMCO is the world's largest direct membership organization for ship owners, charterers, shipbrokers, and agents. In total, about 60% of the world's merchant fleet, measured by tonnage, is represented by BIMCO. And Sadan has been heading this organization for a number of years. So let's start our discussion. You come from a shipping family. So the question of how you got into shipping is kind of self-explanatory. But still, I would like to ask you, can you please share with us your family's history in shipping, how it all started for you and how it developed, and give us some background, again, on yourself and your family.
First of all, thank you so much, Nicholas, and thank you for this great opportunity. I always enjoy also having a conversation with you. Well, I think shipping kind of in my destiny, but it's kind of, to me, it took me 20 years almost to figure out that I was a shipping person. And of course, Kaptanoglu family has a more than 100 years of shipping existence. It started in the Black Sea region during the Ottoman Empire times. My great-great-grandfather was a trader and also has small, vessels, so that, he can trade his own goods with his own, fleet. And this is something very rare for the, Turkish person to have this kind of business in Ottoman empires. Yet we have it, and then families somehow from one branch to another, they continue all these years to be in shipping. And my grandfather, he was a captain himself, and he is the founder of our Kaptanoglu shipping. And so, because he's the one who left the brothers, the family business, and start his own career. And so here we are today. Of course, in our family, you just say at the beginning that how I am involved with the industry. And because it is in my genes, in my family, my grandfather was very much involved in the Turkish shipping industry. And because he is the founder of the Turkish Shipping Corporation. And he is the one who actually, grouped the Turkish ship owners who go to the, politics and lobby about shipping. And of course, then my father followed his steps. And my father is one of the founders of the Turkish Chamber of Shipping, which is the most important body in Turkey. Because in Turkey, by law, you have to be a member of Turkish Chamber of Shipping. So in Turkish Chamber of Shipping, we have over 10,000 members. And so it is really the umbrella organization. Also, of course, my father and my grandfather also part of the Turkish Ship Owners Associations. And and then the Education Foundation and the university. So I think I can say that it was, in our genes to serve our industry. So I grew up in a sense that you serve your country, you serve your people that you work also together. I was not pushed to become a shipping person. Actually, now no one in my family, even my brother, was not pushed. So there were simple rules in the family, like you have to have an education, you have to study at the university, you have to know at least one foreign language, and you should be ready to serve for your country, for your industry, whichever you are in a very decent manner. So that was the expectation. But of course, all our Sunday trips was either on a vessel, or was in a shipyard. So it kind of gets you. And and of course, being in a family business, in the family businesses, you bring the business to the house as well. So we were always aware of things. And whenever we pay a visit to our headquarters, that my grandfather used to, take us and, make us sit on a round in his chair. And then answer the phones on behalf of him. So which kind of then got into me. But my route was completely different. I studied philosophy at the university. I wasn't thinking about shipping. I was just helping my family for the translations, because my English was way better than their English. And eventually I just understand that shipping is very suitable for my character. And then the rest is history. And then here we are. So this is how I got into the shipping.
Very interesting. And I have to say, we should all reflect exactly how shipping families and companies like yours that trace your history so long ago. I mean, it's very interesting to see how these family businesses have grown to a global level, having a global footprint in this industry. So, and this is really particularly interesting and amazing. So, thank you for sharing this with us. At the end of the day, shipping has been a privately oriented business. Of course, it's opening up to the world. But again, let's not forget all these big shipping families, how they have evolved over time into these big corporate structures of today. Anyway, I wanted to ask you, what are the complexities and advantages of working and managing a family-owned company?
Well, as you say very rightfully, family business is a complex matter, and it is sometimes so complex. I had a PhD on it. So when I was doing PhD, my topic was how to sustain competitive advantage to the cooperative decision making. And my case study was to see the lean applications on family businesses, family shipping businesses in Turkey. So I have to say that the advantage and the disadvantage of a shipping family business is the same thing, family. So if the family serve the business and everybody has a commitment to continue, and then there is nothing you cannot solve. So that's why I think for whomever goes to the family businesses, I think they have to have a kind of separate mind on to be a shareholder and carry the responsibility of a shareholder, and then be working like a professional on behalf of a family. Because if you can have separate these two, then your transparency, your fairness, and your dedication will keep things together. Otherwise, it is very hard to keep the family happy enough to serve the business. So I think this is the, complexity. But if you can manage it, then I think it is the strongest thing to have a family business.
Indeed. So in that environment, if I can ask you, what do you consider milestones in your career?
Well, I think my first milestone in a very interesting, but my education. Because first I prefer to study philosophy, because I thought that, coming from a privileged background, I should go with the classics and basics. And mathematics, God forbid, was not an option for me. So I was very happy to study philosophy. But then I knew that at the same time I'm going to be a shareholder in a shipping company. So I went to CAS, now BASE Business School. And that changed my perception also from I would say domestically international than being pure international. And that is, I think, the first thing I have to say. And the second thing is you have to really digest your family culture and all this family experience in the business. But after that, you should have a kind of a strategy where you want to go. And in my family, diversification was always an important tool that we use in shipping. And so going to the shipyard business was one of my projects, and it was supported by the youngsters, especially by my brother. So, and I think that was a milestone, and it is one of the sustainable business plan that we have compare what is going through with shipping today. And of course, after that, my BIMCO presidency, such an honor. And so that is also one of the milestones. And the other milestones is all about the ups and downs of the shipping and the world economy, and they come with the business. So I think these three is important to me.
Very interesting. By the way, we both share the common bond of Professor Gramenos,
Yes.
who created an amazing, network of alumni around the globe. He's done a great
Indeed.
job, and
Yes.
been indeed transformational for me and obviously for you.
That's correct. So yes, I think he deserves a big salute. Great guy, great planning, wonderful job.
So Sadan, if you can share with us, as you mentioned, you've been through the ups and downs of the business over a long time. So can you share with us what has been one of the biggest challenges that you faced in your career, and how did you overcome it?
I think it's an easy question for me because the ultimate challenge was my gender, because I was a woman, and it was not unexpected, me being a shipping person, and but how I overcome it, I simply decline the perception of what a woman should do or must do or can do. And of course, this is not an easy thing to decline and just proceed, but I manage it. I am quite a rational person. And after that, everything was much better. Today, sometimes I see that, some of my colleagues have some experience. So I think the best way of overcoming it to create your own personality, and as I said, just not to listen to anyone.
Very interesting. So I will go back to your BIMCO presidency, obviously as a global ship owner, and also as the head of this global organization. You have a unique insight and footprint on the industry. So can you share with us what are the three major challenges that you see in the industry as the industry develops today?
Okay, the first one by far is the decarbonization of shipping. It's simply because we do not have the technology. And so we need to create projects and collaborations, especially with the charterers and all the other stakes together. And determination is there. It is a wonderful thing. And I'm a great believer of this. But we need to work together in order to overcome this. The second one is the well-being and safety of our seafarers. In the pandemic, we did a great job. Shipping did excellent job, but this was, at the cost of our seafarers. So vaccination is now getting better, but still, there is a lot of number of seafarers that is not vaccinated yet. And also, I think seafarers deserve to be safe, not to be killed or hijacked. So I think this is the second challenge that we all, again, together have to work on. And the last one is still environmental, because we focus on the green gas emissions, and it is the most important topic for sure, but it is not the only one. So we have to do, I will not say we have to do more, because we always do what we are, responsible. But we have to be sensitive of the newcomers, of the marine pollutions. This can be the, voice, this could be the plastics, because this is our home. Seas are our home. And everybody has to do their part. But sometimes I think shipping has to do more, because it is our home.
Indeed. So now let me move to another area that is particularly interesting and challenging: technology. Technology is changing rapidly on a day-by-day basis, and the pandemic has accelerated the transformational impact and speed of technological change. What is the biggest digital change that you have experienced in your own career in the shipping industry? And what do you think we are likely to see looking ahead for the next few years?
In my experience, I think the dramatic change was the internet, and then the communication with vessels, monitoring with the vessels. Now I can see my vessels from my mobile phone, inside out. I mean, that's a wonderful thing. I can see what is happening in the shipyards, from my mobile phone again. So this is, I remember when I was a small child, they do not have this kind of things. And it was 10 times, not 10 times, 100 times more difficult to actually, maintain the vessels, to have the control over it. And now I think with vessels and offices are in much more direct communication, and then the management skills is much more improved thanks to this. And when I look at the future, I think I will see, and I want to see, a paperless shipping. So, and hopefully it will start with the bill of ladings. Then I think we'll go to all of things, because also this is also environmentally friendly, not to use all that papers, but also it will keep up the pace in a much better and faster way. So these are the first things that I'm expecting.
So staying on the issue of technology, technology also means increasing automation, and there has been a lot of discussion about that. To what extent do you think that automation can ultimately replace or supplement the human factor? At the end of the day, shipping is based on the human factor.
I think, okay, automation is a fact. It is coming along, and especially we see a success in predictable routes. But I think sometimes non-shipping people, when they talk about automation, they are a little bit carried away because they forget that this wonderful piece of, factories, individual factories that we have on the sea need maintenance. So, and if we look at the last 50 years, the number of the crew reduced actually a lot. But I do not see 100% automated vessels without any person at all, because there will be always maintain the maintenance of the vessel. There is a need for this. And also my personal idea is that, maybe the collisions or the problems that we are always come, unfortunately, in the light of the news when there is something terrible happens. And then they say that human factor. But at the same time, I believe every second a seafarer saving, us, environment, and the world. So we have to always think that there are things that machines cannot do, and only human can do. As long as also we focused on to train our seafarers accordingly, there will be always human factor in shipping.
Indeed. And I think, as you pointed out, the overall question of training the seafarers is absolutely critical. If I can interject one more question, exactly capitalizing on your broader industry footprint as the head of BIMCO, do you think, I wanted to ask you about regulation. Do you think regulation is going the right way today in the regarding the industry? There are so many unknowns, so many factors involved. What is your take, especially as you have been the head of BIMCO?
Nicholas, I think we have to change the way we look at things. I do understand that my fellow ship owners wants to do the business as usual, but the world is singing a different song. And not only the people, non-shipping people, but also environment is singing another song. So it is pointless if we have all these wonderful vessels, but there is no cargo to carry, such as no grain because of the climate change, or we continue to carry coal, but then the world is freeze because of the climate change. Climate change is a fact now. And if we take all the shipping as one country, in our emissions, for example, we will be the number 6. So there is something we can do. We should do. What is difficult is to regulate an international industry. That is the problem. And that's why I know I sound very, very boring, but that's why I keep on saying, we have to do this together. Ship owners cannot do this together. Only among themselves, I mean, collaboration is necessary among the ship owners, but also collaboration is necessary among the ship owners, to charterers, to ports, to flag states, everybody. Everybody must do their part. And this is like almost changing from the wind power to the steam engines, and I understand the pain here. But again, the targets were set. We have an agreed regulation. And what is fantastic about ship owners, we always comply. And I know that we will again do the magic and comply. This time it will be very difficult, but I think we will find ways. And there won't be one solution. There will be plenty of solutions. And that's why also in BIMCO we were supporting, and we are still supporting this research and development foundation. We need that. So in order to actually focus on where is necessary. Also, we will see a lot of technologies for retrofitting as well. Was it all necessary? I always say, now this is me as an environmentalist talking, I always say we are not the first generation to damage the environment, but we can be the last generation to actually get this straight and clean the environment.
Very well put, Sadan. But as you pointed out, it's the complexity and the difficulty. How do you regulate an international industry? And I think one of the concerns we hear from a lot of people is the concern about the plurality of regulators, and that we may end up having international, regional, multiple guidelines that people have to observe. So
you are right, but that's why we've been very outspoken about this. This is a very dangerous thing. Regional approach will stop the innovation. So that's why we should always remember that IMO is our holy house. And sometimes we always complain, that is a very bad English, I would say. I said sometimes, then always. But I think sometimes we complain how slow it is. But 174 countries agreed on international regulation. It is difficult, but we have to reach out the non-shipping people in a very positive way to let them understand why we need one regulation. That's why also we made this 2 film in BIMCO, in order to reach the youngsters who claim that we have to do more, to let them know that why things are getting, slower than their expectation.
You're absolutely right. I think you hit the nail on the target. You need to have an informational campaign to a broader industry, also beyond the shipping industry itself, because ultimately a number of decisions are being made by non-shipping people. But anyway, going back to our discussion, how much does company culture matter in running a successful company like yours? And clearly, you as the CEO set the tone. Is there a company motto that your team and yourself follow?
Okay, first of all, I think everybody will give this answer. Company culture is everything, because that is also becoming a kind of a family, which needs to be run very professionally, but needs to be bound together, because shipping is a very demanding and difficult business. And of course, over the years, we have a lot of mottos, I have to say. But I particularly like 2 of them. One of them is nothing is impossible. Because in shipping, you always deal at one point, something looks absolutely impossible for other non-shipping people. So we know that, nothing is impossible. Impossible is something that, just take time sometimes. And also, it's coming, another motto that is coming from generations to my family. They all say, everybody, man and woman in the family, say the same thing: business comes first. So business I think that is also important.
So can you, maybe before I go to your BIMCO experience, I wanted to ask you, of course, right now, no one is traveling, but hopefully we'll go back to a traveling schedule. Now, being the head of a major shipping group, also being the head of BIMCO for a number of years, you have been on the go all the time. So how have you been able to manage business and personal life? It must have been quite taxing.
Yeah, it is not easy, I have to say. But I think one of my specialties that I am proud of is I prioritize things. So, and I stick to that. So to me, family comes first. Because I am a mother, I have 2 daughters. I have my ultimate responsibility is towards my children. And which means that you have to steal time from yourself. So there were times that for months I didn't go to a movie theater, or I didn't go out with my friends, but I was either in the business. It can be, industry business like BIMCO or Kaptanoglu business, or with my children. and with my family. I think, sometimes I make fun of people. They say, "What is your success?" And I say, "I'm still married." And I appreciate also my husband for the support, because also my family. This is one of the advantages of having a family business. My family is always there for me, and our offices also are very children-friendly offices. So, as I explain my experience with my grandfather, our children are having same experience in the office.
Sadan, you're so right, and I think you're right. Family should always come first. It doesn't mean we neglect the business, and time flies so fast.
Yeah, Nico, I know. But I think also when family, for generation, when they say business come first, they refer to family should serve the business, not the business should serve the family. This was the underlying explanation of this. That is the success, of the family businesses. You learn to serve for the business, not vice versa.
That's what makes you a statesperson in a way. So if I can go back now to your BIMCO experience, can you share with us, this must have been a very impactful, significant assignment. Can you share with us your experience heading the organization?
Sure. First of all, BIMCO is a wonderful organization. I literally love it. It is a direct entity, so we have to listen everybody. Everyone can reach us, and so also the synergy, is wonderful, and everybody is very dedicated. Secretariat is excellent, and even during the pandemic, how they observed this change and adopted right away. I was very impressed and very, very, very grateful. So it is almost like a family, and that I really like to, I always like to be inside of it, regardless if I'm a president or not. I've been quite a time now working in and serving. I would say I am serving in BIMCO to the industry. So my experience, when we started, it was in a way transition period. So one great general secretary was leaving, and we had to find another great one. We were very lucky to find it, and then I declared that my main focus will be environment. So I thought that I will be focusing on all these issues, and then pandemic starts. So, and I am the first woman president of any big association that I know in shipping. So, and then another historic moment to me was the pandemic. And of course, environment become even more important because people, I think, finally, understand what is happening in the world. But also we have to deal with the what is happening with the result of the pandemic. And of course, the pandemic itself, it was a problem. Shipping, as I said, did a great job, still doing a great job, but at the cost of the seafarers. So we were trying to solve that. And at the same time, of course, the economy of the world was, going to a terrible position. There were sanctions. I think, I don't want to say you name it, we got everything, because God forbid, there can always be, worse. And but we have to tackle all of this. And I was very lucky because I have a great team, and I think we did very well because first of all our membership increased. Now we are also representing more than 51% of the tanker owners in the world, and so we opened an office in London. And also, of course, we have the movies, and we have the Gulf of Guinea Declaration, which it is very important to me. And as a person who, faced with the piracy, and I know what it is for the seafarers, so I'm very happy. So while we are tackling all the pandemic issues, at the same time, we managed to grow the BIMCO. So it was a wonderful experience. But again, I have to say, I am so proud to lead such a group, because you can be very forward thinking. You can be full of ideas. You can be very disciplined, very smart. But if you do not have the team, if you do not have the support of your board members, if you do not have your support, your past and future president, then things are very difficult. So we are always very united, and thanks to pandemic, we become even more united. And so it was a wonderful experience, and I think I will continue to serve Sabrina because it is also very important. Being the first woman, Nicholas, president, gives you a big responsibility. I always think that I should do a good job, at least a good job, so that Sabrina can have a greater job. Because I didn't want her to have the burden of my, failure. So I hope I meet with the standards. And I am looking forward to work with Sabrina as an immediate past president.
Well, Sadan, you led me to the next question, and thank you for all this insight. You were the first president of BIMCO, so it's a historic moment for BIMCO. Obviously, it's an important moment for you, and you are also being succeeded by Sabrina Chow, so there's another female president following you. So with that, can you please share with us your views on diversity and women in shipping? You touched upon the topic earlier on when you said that one of your biggest challenges was your gender in this business. So share with us your insight as a ship owner, as an institutional factor in this business.
I think 21st century is promising a much better life for women. Maybe we do not see it now, but we will see it more in the coming years. And why is that? Because 21st century requires a different type of leadership, and there is such a complex issues that we have to tackle. We need complex minds and different minds. So that's why diversity will become even more important. And for me, it is very gratifying that I hand over the leadership to Sabrina, to another woman. But not only this, I mean, in BIMCO, we really believe in diversification. And, I see companies or corporate structures, they just say, oh, we do as well. And then I look at their leadership team, I look at their boards, and then if they are so much committed, where are the women? Or where are the diversity in age and experience? So if you look at now to BIMCO, you will see more women in the leadership team, you will see more women in the board of directors. And this is because we believe in diversity, in gender, in age, in experience, and also we really think that the combining different, I would say, genders or people, then you start to hear different voice other than your voice, which was always agreed by another person who happens to be another man. So, and I think we have to encourage to ourselves to hear different voices, different suggestions, because this will also lead us in a better way to 21st century. So it is time not to talk, but actually do something and show.
No, so, Sadan, you're so correct. You always have to move from discussion to delivery, and that is the theme that we have picked for a couple of our forums. There's always a lot of discussion, but at the end of the day, you need to move to delivery, and you're very correct to point this out. So if I can ask you, you have a very rich, impactful career in shipping. If you look back, is there anything else you would have done differently? What is the advice that you might give to yourself if you were to start over again?
As advice, maybe I would say that I should learn picking my fights earlier. I think every person who comes to a certain age will say this. You don't, because when you are young, you don't really understand this. But I think to pick your fights is important. But would I do anything differently? This is a difficult question. I've been, because who I am now is because of my past. And I'm happy where I am right now. So that's why I would say I wouldn't change anything, but ask me again in 3 years, then we'll discuss this again.
So correct. And one of the statements that I remember in one of our previous podcasts, I think Martin Wade made that. He said we should not forget where we're coming from. And you're so right.
Awesome.
I mean, you're so right. So we are winding down to the end of our podcast. I wanted to ask you, looking back at 2020, did it give you a new perspective on life, on business, or the world in general?
Yes. And this question is in a way something that we also discuss among friend circles, and I was telling people that I learned how little I need to be happy. Then I was thinking about this, because what I meant by little, saying that our office were always open, our shipyard was always open. We were very, very careful, but only few people got sick. Only 2 persons from a huge Kaptanoglu family got sick. So I was so blessed. I mean, so far, let's knock the wood. And so then I understood, when I say I am happy with little, that little is such a huge thing, actually. To be blessed with this. And so what I can say is that then little things can be huge things, and just be peaceful with yourself. And I think that's what I'm doing. And I think it is really big advantage to be a shipping person, because you adapt so quickly.
So that's so well said. And I have to say it has been a privilege to know you, to have worked with you over all these years, and of course looking forward to a lot more going forward. As we are closing our podcast, let me ask you for your closing remarks, and also any advice that you would have to the younger generation that it may be looking to enter shipping one way or the other.
Okay, to youngster first, I think it is time that we, relatively older, should take advice from youngsters. I genuinely believe that 21st century problems can only be solved by the ones who were born in 21st century. Regardless our age differences, Nicholas, you, myself, all our friends, all these great people we know, we all born in 20th century. And we are trying to solve the problems of today with the mentality of 20th century. So that's why I think all I can say for the youngsters, be bold, proceed forward, and you will always find people like myself to support you. Just like when I was young, I find these people. So, and I think my closing remark should be I'm a blessed person, and before I reached to 50, I was blessed with a wonderful career and wonderful BIMCO experience, and I want to think that my even bit better success is ahead of me, and I always be here to support young shipping people also.
Dan, thank you very, very much. It's been really a great privilege to have you with us today. I would like to thank you for the time. I would like to thank you for your insight, for your passion about shipping and the industry. So I will conclude our podcast. I would like to thank again WinGD for being a sponsor of this particular session. So Dan, thank you. You still have a lot to contribute to this industry, and we look forward to your continued presence and involvement. And thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure for me. Thank you.